the bustling studio of ITV's Loose Women, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation as the legendary Dame Julie Andrews graced the set for what was billed as a charming interview celebrating her iconic career. The panel, including the outspoken Denise Welch, welcomed her with applause from the live audience, and Julie, ever the picture of elegance at 90 years old, smiled warmly as she took her seat. The host began with light questions about The Sound of Music and Mary Poppins, reminiscing about how those roles defined an era of wholesome family entertainment. Julie shared anecdotes from her early days on Broadway, her voice still carrying that timeless clarity despite the years, and the audience hung on every word. Denise Welch, known for her bold opinions, nodded along at first, complimenting Julie on her enduring grace and contributions to film. As the conversation flowed, they touched on Julie's memoir and her experiences in Hollywood's golden age, with Julie recounting funny stories about working with directors like Blake Edwards, her late husband. The other panelists chimed in with admiration, asking about her favorite memories and how she maintained such poise through challenges, including the vocal surgery that altered her singing career. Denise seemed engaged, sharing how Julie's performances inspired her own love for theater. The segment started smoothly, building a rapport that promised an unforgettable episode filled with nostalgia and mutual respect. Little did anyone know, tensions were simmering beneath the surface, ready to erupt over differing views on modern entertainment. Julie spoke passionately about the importance of family-friendly content in today's media landscape, expressing concern over the explicit nature of some contemporary shows and films. Denise, a staunch advocate for freedom of expression, listened intently but began to interject with counterpoints, defending the evolution of television and the need for raw, honest storytelling. The audience sensed a shift as voices raised slightly, but the producers kept rolling, hoping for a lively debate rather than discord. Julie maintained her composure, drawing on decades of professionalism, while Denise pushed back with personal examples from her own life and career. What began as a celebration was veering into uncharted territory, setting the stage for a confrontation that would shock viewers nationwide. As the discussion deepened, Julie elaborated on how classics like her films brought joy without resorting to controversy, subtly critiquing the sensationalism prevalent in daytime TV. Denise took this personally, feeling it was a dig at shows like Loose Women itself, and the clash ignited fully, words flying across the table in a heated exchange that no one saw coming. The turning point came when Denise Welch directly challenged Julie Andrews on her views about political correctness in entertainment, accusing the icon of being out of touch with younger generations who craved authenticity over polished perfection. Julie, with her signature dignity, responded calmly at first, explaining that timeless stories transcended eras without needing to shock for attention, referencing how Mary Poppins delighted children for decades without explicit content. Denise fired back, arguing that suppressing opinions led to stale programming, and brought up her own battles with mental health portrayed openly on the show, suggesting Julie's era swept issues under the rug. The audience gasped as the tone sharpened, with other panelists trying to mediate but failing to diffuse the mounting tension. Julie defended her stance, pointing out that elegance and depth could coexist with honesty, and questioned whether constant controversy truly helped audiences or just fueled ratings. Denise, passionate as ever, raised her voice, insisting that stars like Julie had it easy in a less scrutinized time, without the pressures of social media and public accountability. The studio fell into a stunned hush as Julie's eyes narrowed slightly, her polite smile fading into a firm expression of disagreement. She recounted personal hardships, like losing her singing voice, and how she faced them with resilience rather than public outbursts. Denise interrupted, claiming that privilege shielded some from real struggles, and the argument escalated into personal territory. Producers off-camera exchanged worried glances, but the live format meant they couldn't cut away easily. Viewers at home were glued to their screens, tweeting furiously about the unexpected drama unfolding. Julie attempted to steer back to positivity, praising the panel's bravery and discussions, but Denise pressed on, accusing traditional Hollywood of hypocrisy. The clash intensified, with both women speaking over each other, their words laced with frustration born from deeply held beliefs. What was meant to be a nostalgic chat had transformed into a generational showdown, highlighting divides in how fame and expression were perceived. The audience murmured, some cheering Denise's boldness, others defending Julie's legacy. As the segment barreled toward chaos, security hovered nearby, sensing the need for intervention. Julie, ever the professional, tried to conclude gracefully, but Denise's final retort pushed her to a rare display of assertiveness, declaring that respect for boundaries was key in any conversation. The host desperately tried to wrap up, but the damage was done, and the heated exchange left everyone reeling from the intensity. As the argument reached its peak, Denise Welch accused Julie Andrews of dismissing modern women's struggles by clinging to outdated ideals of femininity, referencing how characters like Maria von Trapp represented an unrealistic standard that burdened real women today. Julie, visibly taken aback but composed, countered that those roles empowered through kindness and strength, not weakness, and that true progress came from uplifting stories rather than tearing down traditions. The panel erupted in crosstalk, with some supporting Denise's call for unfiltered truth and others backing Julie's advocacy for wholesome inspiration. Denise leaned forward aggressively, listing examples of loose women's frank discussions on topics like menopause and addiction, implying Julie's films ignored such realities. Julie responded thoughtfully, acknowledging those issues but arguing that art could address them subtly and beautifully, without graphic detail that alienated families. The audience was divided, applause mixing with boos as the debate turned personal. Denise suggested Julie lived in a bubble of acclaim, untouched by criticism, while she herself faced backlash daily for honesty. Julie firmly rejected this, sharing briefly about tabloid scrutiny in her career and the pain of vocal loss that silenced her greatest gift. Tensions boiled over when Denise implied that icons like Julie avoided controversy to protect their image, prompting Julie to stand up slightly, her voice steady but firm, stating she had faced plenty and chosen grace over confrontation. The studio lights seemed harsher in the moment, cameras zooming in on flushed faces and clenched hands. Producers signaled for a commercial break, but the live feed captured every second of the raw emotion. Viewers flooded social media with reactions, some calling Denise rude, others praising her for challenging a legend. Julie attempted to diffuse by complimenting the show's format for sparking debate, but Denise doubled down, saying not all debates needed sugarcoating like in old musicals. The clash exposed deep rifts and perspectives on fame, feminism, and media responsibility. As words flew faster, the host intervened repeatedly, but the momentum was unstoppable. Security began moving closer, anticipating the need to escort someone off if things escalated further. Julie, drawing on her theatrical training, maintained poise amid the storm, but her eyes betrayed hurt at the personal attacks. The segment, now far over time, became one of the most talked about in loose women history, even before its shocking conclusion. In the midst of the chaos, the host frantically tried to regain control, asking for calm as Julie Andrews expressed disappointment that a celebratory appearance had turned hostile, emphasizing her respect for diverse opinions but not for disrespect. Denise Welch, unyielding, argued that tough conversations were the heart of the show, and backing down would betray its essence. The audience roared with mixed reactions, some chanting support for Denise, others applauding Julie's restraint. Julie shared a poignant story from her life about overcoming adversity with positivity, hoping to bridge the gap, but Denise interrupted, claiming such narratives glossed over systemic issues women faced. The exchange grew more intense, with Julie accusing Denise of misinterpreting her words to fuel argument, while Denise insisted on clarity in an era of misinformation. Other panelists jumped in, one siding with Julie on the value of classic storytelling, another with Denise on modern relevance. The studio buzzed with energy, cameras capturing every grimace and gesture. Producers whispered urgently into earpieces, debating whether to cut to break early. Julie, sensing the unraveling, politely requested to conclude her thoughts, but Denise pressed for rebuttal, leading to overlapping voices and heightened frustration. Social media exploded with clips circulating rapidly, hashtags trending about the unexpected feud. Julie maintained that entertainment should unite rather than divide, drawing parallels to how her films brought joy across generations. Denise countered that division sparked change, citing her own advocacy work. The argument delved into specifics, with Denise referencing current events and Julie responding with historical context from her career. The tension was palpable, the air thick with unspoken regrets on both sides. As the clock ticked, the host announced a hasty break, but not before Denise's final pointed remark about privilege in Hollywood's heyday. Julie shook her head subtly, her elegance unbroken despite the barrage. Security stood ready, and the audience held its breath for what might come next. This moment crystallized the clash of eras, one rooted in timeless charm, the other in bold confrontation. Returning from the commercial break, the atmosphere remained charged as the host attempted to pivot to lighter topics, but Denise Welch steered back to the debate, apologizing half-heartedly while reiterating her points, which only reignited the fire. Julie Andrews, with remarkable patience, addressed the audience directly, affirming her admiration for strong women like the panel but standing firm on her beliefs. Denise challenged this, questioning if Julie truly understood the pressures of today's celebrity culture. The back and forth continued, voices rising again as Julie defended her legacy without apology, pointing out contributions beyond acting, like children's books promoting kindness. Denise acknowledged the books but argued they represented an idealized world detached from reality. The panel fractured further in opinions, amplifying the discord. Viewers at home debated fiercely online, some shocked at Denise's persistence, others seeing it as authentic TV. Julie expressed that she came to share joy, not argue, her words carrying quiet authority. Denise responded that joy came from honesty. Even if uncomfortable, producers decided enough was enough, signaling security as the situation teetered on unmanageable. Julie rose gracefully, thanking the show but indicating she felt the interview had derailed. Denise reached out verbally one last time, but Julie's response was measured disappointment. The audience watched in stunned silence as events unfolded toward the inevitable. Security approached politely, asking Julie if she wished to continue, but the damage was irreparable. Whispers of kicked off began circulating among staff, though it was more a mutual parting. The host trapped awkwardly, praising both women as the cameras panned wide. In the aftermath of the heated clash, Julie Andrews was escorted off the set by security at her own implicit request, marking a dramatic end to what started as a tribute appearance on Loose Women. Denise Welch sat back, defending her passion as the show cut to another segment. While the audience processed the shock, social media erupted with videos of the exchange going viral, opinions split on who was right. Julie later released a statement expressing no hard feelings but emphasizing mutual respect and discussions. The incident sparked widespread media coverage, debating daytime TV boundaries and generational differences. Denise addressed it on subsequent shows, standing by her views without regret. Fans of Julie rallied in support, praising her grace under fire, while others commended Denise for fearless hosting. The episode became legendary for its unpredictability, boosting ratings significantly. Reflections poured in from celebrities, some siding with tradition, others with evolution in media. Ultimately, the clash highlighted how even icons could face modern scrutiny, leaving a lasting impact on all involved and viewers alike.